Hello, my name is Jeff Rolka. Thank you for checking out my video. I know this is labeled as a gentle warm-up. It's really the gentlest warm-up. And the idea here is to make sure that the vocal fold is adducting and we can start to sing more normally. We can start to do our practice again and our regular warm-ups and work our way into our repertoire. Thinking specifically here, if something's happened to your voice, if it's been a bit fatigued, if you've had a cold or anything like that, or any laryngitis, this can serve as not only a gentle way to ease back into singing, but also as a test to see whether or not it's time to start easing back into singing. First and foremost is a lip trill. Now we're listening for a very specific thing here when we do the lip trill. We're doing open fifths, and I'll play in 2 octaves. You pick the octave that best suits you. We want the lips to buzz at about the same pace. If they all of a sudden start to go really quickly, the vocal fold is separating. Now, if when you're perfectly healthy and you haven't had a cold it does that, then that's a technical issue and you need to maybe look at some vocal fold engagement, vocal fold adduction practices. But if you've been sick, you can check it here if, as I said before, normally your vocal folds are adducting. So, an open fifth in either octave, or even here, if you like. And now we're going to pause for a second. And again, if you've been sick, give yourself a moment, and now we can resume. We're going to pick up where we left off. And a couple more. Again, taking a short little pause. This is especially important if you're still recovering because you just might not have all the energy you need. So we take a little break and we keep going. Only a few more keys. And let's come down. And another little pause. Again, giving the body time to just rejuvenate, gather your energy. We want to always come at these exercises as fresh as we possibly can, so we're using the best possible technique. Continuing, and taking another little pause, and let's keep going. And the next exercise is an arpeggio. So 1, 3, and 5. And we're going to use the syllable we. We will also do this with you. Different people respond differently, better to different vowels, so we want to check both. Again, we are listening to the adduction of the vocal fold. So, for example, if I'm here, let me show you two so you can see where I'm at on the piano. If I'm here and I've been sick or I've had some problems or something's going on with my voice, the top notes will start to spread. The vocal folds will separate. We. They won't want to close. And you might even hear it a little bit throughout the arpeggio because I've had some issues recently. That's why you're seeing a lot of this kind of content these days. So, as opposed to It's important to keep in mind what you sound like normally, as opposed to now. If you're been having some issues, you've had a little bit of an illness, or you're having some things occurred to your voice. For me, it kind of came out of nowhere and it caught me by surprise. Let's begin down here. Again, pick the octave that best suits you, there or there to begin with, and we. Taking a short breath, little break, get your energy back, and let's keep going. And taking a short pause again, and let's continue. Again, we're listening for we, where the vocal fold is closing, as opposed to we, where the vocal fold is not closing entirely. We want to hear the closure of the vocal mechanism. And pausing again, try to notice if in trying to get the vocal fold to close, you're using more energy around your neck muscles or around the larynx. That is something worth observing. That is not the best way to force the vocal mechanism to close, especially if that's not what you would normally done when you're singing. So that is something to consider. Let's keep going. And taking a short breather, and let's continue. Now we're going to do that same arpeggio with U, the oo vowel. The benefit here is that oo tends to help the vocal folds adduct a little bit more easily, but in a different way than the E vowel does. And if you are successful with one, but not with another, that bears some consideration that you could still be in the healing process, or it could be a vowel alignment issue too. It just gives you more information to consider as you recover from whatever has occurred with your voice. So notice if there are any differences in the amount of adduction or closure of the vocal mechanism that you achieve, or if some pitches from the E vowel with the we syllable were adducting, but with oo they're not, or vice versa. They can all tell you a little bit about what might have occurred or how you might move forward with working with your voice. But bigger picture here is we want to observe the adduction of the vocal mechanism, the closure of the vocal folds, and come to some ideas about, yes, it's a good time to start warming up a little bit more every day, a little gentle warm-ups, doing this video perhaps once or twice a day just to kind of get the voice moving. And then as everything starts to adduct more consistently with whatever vowel, with whatever exercise, then you can move into your regular warm-up videos. So, or warm-up practices. You don't necessarily have to use a video, of course. So this one, you, right there. And breath, little break. And let's keep going. And little pause. And a little pause again. And let's keep going. And let's keep going. And there you go. I hope that this serves you well. It's tough when you rely on your voice and you get used to it performing in a way that you like, that you're happy with, that you enjoy singing with, and then something changes. For me, it happened really sort of unexpectedly. I guess who does ever expect to have vocal problems? But for me, I think it was the culmination of a lot of little minor stressors that resulted in me not necessarily using my voice as effectively as I could at all times, and the fatigue that ensued because of that, and the sheer volume that I use my voice, the amount of singing and especially talking that I do on a day-to-day basis puts me into the heavy voice user category. And all of a sudden, my vocal folds were not adducting in the zona de passaggio the way that I expected them to. If that occurs for you, doing some of these exercises can help to rejuvenate you once you have had a little bit of rest perhaps and allowed some of the inflammations to recede with your voice. You can start with some nice open fifths on the lip trill, carefully observing the performance, and then moving on to those two narrow vowel exercises. And then as those improve, moving on into the other gentler warm-ups that you might yourself play or that you find on my channel or wherever it is that you get your vocal warm-ups from. The main thing here is that if that occurs, we want to identify it and act. That may mean a little bit of vocal rest. If the problem persists for 2 weeks or longer, you really ought to think about seeing a doctor, seeing an ENT, and potentially having someone have a look at your vocal folds to make sure that nothing is going on down there. Any polyps or things like that that start to form, they can often go away with rest and will not require more invasive methods to fix them if you find out about them soon. But you and you alone know what your voice is feeling like. And if normally it's adducting in the zona de passaggio, and all of a sudden it's not, then take a closer look at it. See if it's consistently happening. Start with some rest and then start with your normal vocalizations. And if it still persists, take it from there. More rest, easier vocalizations, work towards rejuvenating it. If it persists for 2 weeks, see if you can see someone about it. I do hope this helps. My name is Jeff. Take really, really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye.